what you have is a situation where you still have Kyrie Irving, and you got to do something because he may not want to stay. You've got the Deion Waiters of the world. Anthony Bennett has been a bust, at least thus far, and he's really got to get his act together. But you look at Christian Thompson and a few other guys, they've got some decent pieces. But now you've got the #1 overall pick. You can get Embiid. You can get Jabari Parker. You can get Wiggins. Not to mention the fact that you've got enough cap space in order to go out there and grab LeBron James. And so if you're LeBron, it's definitely an option. It's something that you need, that you will consider. I can promise you he'll think about it. And I think it puts Cleveland in a good position. They still have to get a coach, though. And it has to be an incredibly reputable coach. Some of the names that are out there, it's got to be somebody that a LeBron can look at and say, all right, this guy's established. Skip brought up George Karl yesterday. And obviously I co-signed on that. You look at a Jeff Van Gundy. You look at a Lionel Hollins. You look at guys like that, the name, the recognition, the kind of things that they've proven they can do, the reputations that they have. It's something that can be considered. But if you're Cleveland, you can't bring in a young, unproven coach if indeed you're trying to get LeBron James. You're going to have to bring in somebody that's established, that everybody knows has credibility attached to their name, and there's going to be no question as to the job that they're capable of doing. That's going to be a very important component, but nothing's more important than the roster. And the roster is definitely going to improve because I don't know if they can get this #1 overall pick wrong, whether it's Embiid, Parker, or Wiggins. It's going to be one of the three, and I don't think you lose with either of them, particularly if you have a shot at getting LeBron James too.
So, Stephen A., I'm looking at these odds that the Cavs just beat in 3 out of 4 of these lotteries to hit the lottery. They had a 2.9% chance at Kyrie, and they hit the lottery. They had a 15.6% chance at hitting what became Anthony Bennett, but that pick, and they hit it. Last night, 1.7%. What are the odds that you could keep beating the longest odds? It's incomprehensible what they just pulled off to even be in position to lure LeBron James back to Cleveland, Ohio. Are you amazed by that?
Of course I'm amazed by it. But you know what? I mean, it is what it is. I mean, what do you want me to say? I think, for people out there that think the draft lottery is fixed, if it was fixed, wouldn't it not be fixed for the Lakers?
Yep, I agree.
Why would it be fixed for Cleveland?
Thank you. That's what I wanted to hear you say.
Talk about being very, very lucky.
Okay. Now, what would lure LeBron back the quickest? I do think he would like to play with Kyrie Irving. On the Anthony Bennett pick, obviously he has been so far, as you point out, a bust. He averaged 4.2 points a game last year. I'm not going to write him completely off yet because he's still an NBA baby. He was a one-and-done player at UNLV, as you remember. I'm not sure what to make of him yet. I don't like what I've seen, and I'm not going to bet that he's going to be a late bloomer, but I still got to leave the jury out on him. So now that brings us to this year's pick. I love Joel Embiid. You're more Jabari Parker guy, although I think you'd go with me on this, that Cleveland could use the big man more than the wing player. So what I'm seeing in Embiid, and again, it all depends on whether his back is okay, and I don't know anything about that. But if he checks out okay, I think this is a better Dwight Howard. This is a bigger Dwight with much more offensive game. And plays at a much higher level in intensity and how seriously Embiid takes the game. He plays with a little bit of a basketball mean streak that Dwight does not have. This is a better Ibaka to me. It's another level up from Ibaka at 7 feet tall and a pure shot blocker who's got all the instincts and the skills to block shots as well as to score. And he'll get nothing but better in the low post as a scorer as he evolves in the NBA.
The biggest thing about LeBron that everybody needs to keep their eye on is that he's of the mindset that he absolutely positively cannot go through another year of what he went through this year. That's where he's at, from what I'm told. It's exhausting. And for the first time in his career, he's been tired. And we saw a little bit of it last night. Thank God for Dwayne Wade because, through the first 3 quarters, it just looked like he just didn't have it in terms of energy. You know, you just hit a wall. Not that you think it's going to happen in game 3 or 4 or whatever, but you just hit a wall in that regard because that's how exhausted he appeared to be.
Yeah, he did.
And so as a result of that, you can't go through what he went through this year, carrying the load, Dwayne Wade being out 28 games. You know, them not having, because you got to also remember they're not a big team. They don't have that big man. You know, so he not only has to score, he has to defend. He usually has to defend the opposing team's best perimeter player, but he still finds himself down low banging from time to time, which is why he spoke out about how he's made his money guarding the perimeter. He don't want to be down there against David West and those boys. You've got to do something about that if you're the Miami Heat, because he simply can't go through that anymore. And so if you look at Cleveland, whether it's an Anderson Varejao who's going to be 32 years of age,
yep.
The Tristan Thompsons of the world and others, you have big bodies on Cleveland. And so if you're going to draft somebody, whether it's an Embiid or you're going to add Parker, along with keeping Kyrie Irving and the Dion Waiters, but you're going to let go of Luol Deng, well, you know something? That may be an attractive proposition. And last but not least, one of the things that I've been told is that if LeBron was to decide to leave Miami and if he were to decide to go to Cleveland, it would be one of the greatest stories you've ever seen in terms of him going back home
yep.
and bringing a championship to the Cleveland Cavaliers for the first time in its history and for the first time in the city's history since 1964 or whatever. That would be a very, very big deal, and it's something that he's cognizant of. But it remains to be seen what he's going to do.